Hello and welcome to the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast. I am your host, the Monster, back after a bit of a hiatus from my podcast to deliver some more sci-fi news for this week. So, if you had not read my posts or kept up with what's been going on, my cat, who I adopted more than 18 years ago, had passed away a couple of weeks ago. So it was a bit hard for me and for my family to get over our loss. We miss our cat very dearly. She lived a very good life, and she had a brother and sister that passed away a couple of years. So being that she was the last of the litter that I had adopted, it was kind of a heartbreak for me, but it wasn't to be unexpected. We all wished things would not be this way, but there was always going to be a beginning, a middle, and end to things. So my belief is that one day all of us will be reunited with those that we love and we cared about. But unfortunately, we do have to go on with our lives, and that's how I'm going to do this, is to go on and making more podcasts and continue with what I like to do in life, is talk about this kind of crap. So let's talk about the latest rumor that I heard out there. The latest news was that Jason Statham was going to be the next villain for Daredevil in the Netflix series, and portraying as Bullseye, which that's not a bad choice, considering that's a good actor, action-oriented, and he's in the current movie coming out right now called Spy. So I think that would have been a perfect character to have for Season 2. After watching Season 1, and I will talk about Season 1 in upcoming podcasts with my co-host, but we do need to have a second villain that's going to take over the reins, so to speak. And Bullseye definitely is one of my favorites. And I recently saw the Daredevil movie with Colin, I forgot his last name, with that version, the one with Ben Affleck, which is a little campy for my taste, but I think that if they were going to do a Bullseye character and keep it in the exact same treatment as they did with Daredevil and Kingpin, then I'm all aboard for that. Unfortunately, Marvel, according to ING website, says there's no truth to the rumor about that. So, oh well, so much for that idea. Another blow to a summer movie that I've been wanting to see is Tron 3. So, Disney decided, after we had the director and Olivia Wilde already scheduled to do production come this fall, Disney decided to pull the plug for Tron 3, so my dreams have been de-rezzed for that. However, there is a petition that's going out right now, or it's been out for some time, at change.org, in which they're trying to get 25,000 signatures, which I just signed just now, and we're short about 550-ish signatures before it goes before Disney. Not that it's going to end world hunger, not that it's going to stop time and space and all that fun stuff, but you never know. If there's enough requests, enough interest, and people are willing to support stuff that they love, maybe Disney will change their minds. I, for one, do not want to see yet another property that it was originally as an animated film be changed or be remade into a live-action film, which is just retelling the exact same story, just in a different format. Kind of like how Disney locks up their movies in the vault and only takes it out for a limited time only, and then before it goes back into the vault. No, I'm not playing that game. I'd rather see something that's new and innovative rather than repeating stuff that I already seen. So, I haven't seen Tomorrowland, and I heard that tanked, so I'm not sure if they're willing to take new chances with properties that have not done well. But honestly, Tron 2... But honestly, Tron 2 did respectable enough in the box office, so I would think that Tron 3 would be a no-brainer. So, who knows? Maybe things can change. A bit of sad news. This past Wednesday, Nichelle Nichols, who is the original Lieutenant Uhura on the original Star Trek series, had suffered a mild stroke. And we don't know any more details other than that she is recovering. And the latest news from CNN is that, that she's awake, she's eating, she's in good spirits. But her right side had shows minor mobility loss, but so far there's no indication of paralysis. They're still doing the MRI testing, so we don't know how far that stroke has affected her at this time. So we just lost Leonard Nimoy recently, and Grace Whitley, who was Yeoman Rand. So it's hard to see people that we admired and grew up with pass, just kind of like what happened with my cat, but it is part of life, unfortunately. So I do hope that she does make at least a speedy recovery and suffers no more complications. Well, we do have coming up on July 22nd, I believe, on the Scifi channel, is Sharknado 3, which, it is what it is. It knows what it is. And I have fun with that. And I'm kind of looking forward to it. Not that I care to see Mark Cuban in it, but the fact that it's taking place in a different locale and you have a shark landing in the Lincoln's Memorial's lab and all that, I'm all for goofy stuff like that. So what I would like to see is something along that line that's kind of a new franchise if they're going to pick up something. But let's stop after the third one. I think we beat that shark stuff to death. I'm kind of anxious for the next new thing. And honestly, after the Avengers of Age of Ultron, I've been looking at shows that I've been watching before or movies that I've seen before that I know I'm going to love and feel happy about. Just because lately, summer movies for almost past 2 years have been really sucking really bad. Or at least for my entertainment value. The popcorn movies are not really the exact same kind of popcorn movies that I would enjoy. I would think kind of like a no-brainer, I don't mind watching it, is like Waterworld, where it's stupid, it's campy. Why everyone's dirty when there's always water around them? Who cares? It's a summer movie, and you go with it to be entertained. And if you can get entertained while eating your popcorn and your soda and all that and have a good time, I'm all for it. But nothing this year, nothing last year that really came up to that kind of level that I'm like, wow, this is a lot of fun. But you have those guilty pleasures like Sharknado that comes up every once in a while and kind of fills a little void there. So I'm hoping something else comes up really soon. The other thing I want to talk about is news that we finally have an Aquaman director, which is not James Cameron as from the Entourage series, but James Wan. Now, James Wan, I was getting kind of confused because he was listed as doing the last Furious 7 movie. And I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't he doing the Star Trek movie? No. That was Justin, just lost his name. It was Justin Lin. Justin Lin did a couple of the Fast and Furious movies, but James did the last one to that. And then he is also planning to do, if I'm remembering correctly, that he's also interested in doing Robotech. So for those who back in the 80s know Robotech, he was planning to do a live action series on that. So I'm kind of stoked on this because finally we're going to do something different as far as a superhero. And as much as I love Marvel stuff, we have yet to find a hero that does things that is sea-related. And I'm hoping that it's going to be better than the struggles that the comics have been having with Aquaman. The fact that here is this hero who happens to be wearing orange and green and went through various incarnations, whether he has the water hand or he has the hook on the hand, he has the beard, he has no beard. It's been a struggle. And to me, I think it's interesting of a character, but because it's water and it's under the sea, unless you're really into oceanography, it doesn't do anything for me. And yet there's, heroes that go out into space or whatever, I can relate to that, but for some reason I'm struggling with the water thing. So I'm hoping that with Jason Momoa scheduled playing Aquaman, that we do get that sense of, wow, this is really, really cool as far as a character, because honestly, we're going to see Superman and Batman come up and for a big fight coming up. So if there's going to be a distinction between Marvel and DC, we need to see different characters do something different, as well as the Wonder Woman movie, which recently the news is that Chris Pine might be the new Captain Steve Trevor that plays counterpart to Wonder Woman. So that'll be an interesting combination to see, because one, I like Christopher Pine. He's done lots of great movies. We'll see if this pans out, because I do believe that you're going to need to have a strong character that's going to be able to stand toe-to-toe, not necessarily physically, but able to hold his own against Wonder Woman. So Steve Trevor is the only male character that I know in throughout the whole history that's who that is, kind of like Lois Lane is to Superman. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about, and I'm really kind of iffy on this, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is planning to work on the remake of Big Trouble in Little China. Okay. Let's begin with this. I like Dwayne, and I can't wait for him to play Black Adam. But the problem that I have, and lots of other people have, the movies that came out in the 80s were pretty much from my childhood growing up being a teenager and so forth. Not all of them are great. Not all of them are going to be like as I remember it by rewatching them right now. But they hold a special place in my memories, my heart, my upbringing, and I love them to death. They're not perfect films, but yet these movies are being remade. Poltergeist a couple of weeks ago came and went. That remake failed miserably. I don't want to see, Life Force, which is another camping movie that I loved. And if you have to explain why, then you need to watch that movie. But for me, anything that's going to be redone again from the 80s, unless you're going to do it so well that it blows the remake out of the water, fine. My trouble is, I think you needed to have that level of campiness, and John Carpenter, who was the director of the original one, did a fine job for what it was. It was a mashup of different things, and I was happy with it. The only problem with it is that, yes, Dwayne Johnson is, as he quotes himself, is the franchise Viagra. Put him in any movie, and he makes it $1 billion. He did, I think, pretty well in the last one he just did for San Andreas, which I would like to see, but right now, not so much. Just because I haven't had the time or the money to go out to the movies. But for this, it really kind of blows me out of the water right from the beginning, because, again, I don't want to see a remake of this. I would rather, if they're going to do this, let's say you continue that storyline or continue after that first movie, then I would be more interested with that. But if you're going to be retelling this, I'm not really going to be that interested. So, for example, the question I have was about Jurassic World versus Jurassic Park. Well, what is the whole timeline? Is Jurassic World a new movie by itself, or is it a sequel to the previous movies? And actually, it's actually a previous movie. Jurassic Park does take place prior to Jurassic World. So the premise was that someone took what the concept was of park tweaked out all the problems that would not make it work into an actual viable product. Hence, now we got Jurassic World. Alright. As long as you acknowledge what it was before, I'm okay with that. My only thing is that don't insult my intelligence and call it something else when in fact, it really is a remake of that movie. So, I love Jurassic Park tremendously. Second and third, not so much. So, we'll see, because I don't think my kids have ever seen any of the Jurassic Parks in the movie theater. So, we'll see if they'll be up to going for that. So, on that note, sadly, this is going to be the end of my podcast. I am still working on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. Hopefully, my co-host for that podcast will be coming to do that sometime next week. And then after that, I will hopefully get to doing the Daredevil, the Arrow, and Flash podcast that I've been wanting to do for some time. So, if you have any questions or concerns, please, you can email me at themonstersci-fi-show@gmail.com. So Monster Sci-Fi Show, all together, one word. Or you can find me on Twitter with the Scifi handle. I can't talk today for some reason. Or find my Facebook page. The Monster Sci-Fi Show is there as well. So, let me know what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts. And that's it. Don't stop the message. Really? Serenity? Yeah, that's because I've been watching Serenity. Although, let me rephrase that. I've been watching Firefly, and now I have to find the Serenity movie so I can finish watching that, which I can't find that in my collection, so go figure. Good night, folks.